Hi and welcome to Therapeutic Yoga. My name is Aaliyah Fern. I am a counseling intern at Prineville Counseling Center and a registered yoga teacher. I am bringing this class today from Brumba's Movement Studio. I teach a few community classes here, even over Zoom. If you want to learn more about that, feel free to message or comment and I'll get back to you with some details. I also have already posted a few videos on my website and the YouTube channel and on Facebook, so lots of different ways to connect. If you want to find more practices, I'm kind of doing an ongoing series right now because we can't do the face-to-face. This is kind of the way that I'm substituting in a lot of ways. Having started a therapeutic yoga class here for the community, I want to just continue that as a free offering for those of you who want to join in from home or wherever you might be. So today's theme comes from the Niyamas of the 8-limb yoga from Patanjali, the Yoga Sutras. If you're familiar with any of that, we've worked through the yamas, which are more of the restraints, the ways in which we are guided to behave in relationship with the outside world and with other beings. Now turning our focus into the niyamas, 5 niyamas as well, which are considered the observances or the ways in which we are guided to kind of deepen our practice internally. The first niyama is Saucha, translates as purity or cleanliness. Includes sanitation of the body, good hygiene, a clean yoga practice, and detoxifying the physical body through breath and posture, also helping to purify our mind and thoughts. The study of the Yoga Sutra informs us that purification of our bodies allows us to recognize the grime and be dissatisfied. And this can be a powerful motivator to encourage cleansing ourselves as a practice, not just physically, but also to cleanse and purify our spirit, our speech, and our intentions. Swami Satchidananda tells us that every time we cover the dirt, it comes back. When we realize this, we develop an indifference toward the body. Not that we neglect it, but we no longer adore it. The time we once spent on our bodies or on our appearances can be used for other purposes. The higher order levels of yoga, deeper meditation, things like that. Teacher Helen Avery also tells us that physical purifications are designed to help us rid the body of disease or dis-ease and preserve its functions for as long as possible, giving us more time to reach enlightenment in this life. And also that the things we would usually turn away from, sweat, bile, mucus, excretions of many kinds, without these so-called impurities, our bodies would not be able to cleanse themselves or function. In the words of Thich Nhat Hanh, no mud, no lotus. Giving us also the teaching that Saucha reminds us the pristine lotus can only grow in the muck on the bottom of the lake. So we find the muck, the lake, and the lotus all are parts of pure divine consciousness. The body is the temple of that consciousness and is in fact nothing but that same divine consciousness. The teaching also comes from the Yoga Sutra. So as we think about Saucha, our purity and our cleanliness, there is a lot of focus on the external kind of practice or the body cleansing from the outside, coming to a practice with clean clothes, fresh shower, things like that. More importantly, maybe, or at least more of my focus, is that yoga can help us to declutter. Declutter mind, heart, take some of that stress off. That's a big reason that I turn to yoga again and again, is just to kind of unbind myself from the stresses of daily life. Coming back to practice where I can find open heart, deep breath, and just kind of, get in touch with the rhythms and the ways in which we can create a cleaner life, clean eating, fresh water, time in the sunshine. So today I wanted to offer the Lotus Mudra. So it looks like the hands coming together from the base of the palms, thumbs touching and fingers touching, pinky fingers touching, and then bringing that Lotus Mudra right to the heart center. The Lotus Mudra opens the heart chakra and is a symbol of purity. It is a symbol of light and beauty emerging from the darkness, and that's a teaching from Jesse Schiller. It also helps in rooting and grounding, something that I think all people can use, practicing of rooting and grounding. And it's a rooting that is strong, like the lotus flower, taking those deep roots into the muck at the bottom of the lake. Also helping us to open our hearts to the joys of life. So it helps us also to drain out misunderstanding and release tension. It can help us cultivate love and affection and easing loneliness. Might be relevant here right now. And can also be practiced when one feels drained, exploited, or misunderstood. So a heart-opening chakra mudra, the Lotus Mudra, allowing this to be our symbol of peace. So if you find this and you kind of notice, like, whew, that takes a little bit of work and effort in the wrists, feel free to kind of release it. You can just kind of let that go when you feel ready, or bring it back if you wish to, back into concentration. So with the Lotus Mudra, or even could just be a simple crossing of the hands over the heart, inviting some breath to come into the heart space. Allowing that breath to be deep and open. Allowing ourselves some time to sit with this breath. Maybe noticing that our roots are connected to the earth. Maybe there's some muck that we're growing out of right now. Giving honor to that muck. It is also part of our divine consciousness and part of the ways that we can anchor ourselves into that spirit of growth and that practice of growth. Allowing this breath to be a purifying, cleansing breath. Cleaning and opening the heart chakra. Maybe allowing ourselves to slow down that exhale just a little bit more. And turning our intention to a healthful practice. Giving ourselves time here just to connect with the body in whatever way it feels right for you. Part of our foundation for therapeutic yoga, a trauma-sensitive practice, is that we recognize our place and time. So trying to stay aware of the present moment, however you need to or wish to do that. And position, just variation here. As we find ourselves present here in this practice, we might draw in the 5 senses to help us stay aware of the here and now. We will also give ourselves some time to notice the rhythm of the breath, maybe the rhythm of the heartbeat, maybe create a little bit of flowing, gentle rhythm with the body and breath together. So honoring those gentle rhythms, making choices. So everything that I offer today is by invitation. Don't feel like there's a need to push yourself somewhere that you're not ready to go, or there's an expectation that you can do all of the things that are offered. Not every body is built or ready for the same things, so it's okay to just let go of what doesn't work for you. And we'll try to provide options and also teach a little bit from the chair today, hence the chairs over there in the background. I'll pull that out and show some adaptations for if the floor isn't a good place for you to practice, how we can take it to the chair. And noticing too that if you do encounter something that feels like too much or too challenging and it's just not right for you today, that you can make a choice to change it. There's nothing, that you are required to do, nothing that you are expected to experience, and that you are also welcome to just make your own healthy choices at all times. Keep yourself safe, keep yourself free of pain or harm, and come into this practice with the intention of love and an open heart. So I'm going to go ahead and release this mudra. If you feel like you would like to keep it, feel free to do so. I'm going to also just offer a little bit of an introduction to the lymphatic system today. This is a focus for our practice, a form of purifying and detoxifying from the inside, using our yoga postures and our breath together. And I'm not a medical professional, so forgive me if my details, there's not a lot of detail, or I might have interpreted something or communicated it a little differently. There's lots of good YouTube videos also on the lymphatic system if you want to know more. But the lymphatic system is the body's detox system. So as the blood channels into the capillaries from the veins and the arteries and things, it feeds the cells, feeds and nourishes the cells, and then the blood plasma, some of it gets filtered out into the lymph system, becomes the lymph fluid. This is a form of kind of monitoring, so that fluid can kind of be taken into the lymph nodes, monitored in a way if there are viruses or if there are invaders or infections, anything like that. Then the lymphatic system can also trigger the lymphocytes or the white blood cells to help either address that problem locally or globally throughout the whole body, depending on what response it determines is appropriate. That lymph fluid travels through the lymph nodes. It can also become blocked up or congested if there is kind of an excess of kind of toxins or issues, cancer cells, different things like that can get caught there. So what we want to be able to do is help to drain and move that lymph through the system in order to support our positive immune system. So by flexing and compressing our smooth muscles, that is the way that we create the movement through the lymph vessels, I think is what they're called. So some of our stretching and our compressing of those muscle tissues is going to help for that lymph to flow through us and help that purification process. So noticing too that there are concentration of lymph nodes primarily in the neck, the underarms and the sides of the chest here around the heart and the lungs, as well as lower into the pelvis. These are some of the higher concentrations of our lymph nodes. So focusing a little bit on some of these areas as well. The idea of lymph drainage using gravity as well. Some of our poses will take some arms high, and that encourages some of that lymph to drain back down. Waterfall pose as well. If you watched the last video, one of our concluding poses where we get an inversion with the legs up, helping the lymph also to drain from the legs and the lower extremities back into the core body where it can be processed and filtered and reutilized in a clean way. I think that's about it about the lymph system, and we'll go ahead and get into our practice. This practice was also inspired by a Yoga Journal article that I found called 12 Poses for Breast Health, I think it is, given a focus on the lymphatic system in conjunction with breast health. But we all have tissue in the chest, we all have lymph nodes through the chest and through the body, so this practice does apply to everyone. If there is any sensitivity or trigger that comes up, again, please feel free to just take care of yourselves and be gentle. Take a break if you need to opt out of something if it feels like it's too much. Those are all things that are encouraged for you to make those effective actions and choices for yourself. I would like to start today's practice just from seated, and if the legs are a little bit stiff and you haven't worked them out, you can go ahead and give yourself maybe a little bounce. But the knees are a little sway side to side with the toes, the feet. We'll come back to a seated pose that feels good to you. If you want to change the seat or find a chair, something like that, feel free to make whatever changes you need. I'm going to reverse the cross of the legs here, just to give my hips a little different balance and opening. Starting by bringing the arms about to shoulder height and then opening them wide. So elbows are in 90-degree angles. These are what we call different names. Cactus arms. I like cactus arms or goddess arms, given that this is part of a goddess pose. I think that we put that one into week 2 if you want to watch the number 2 video. Cactus arms here. So elevating a little bit where the arms are above the shoulder blades also helps us to get that lymph drainage. So if you like that, you're welcome to take it up just a little bit with those elbows. I'm going to keep mine at shoulder level just for now. And then inviting a little bit of twist in the neck with breath. So taking the gaze over to one side with an inhale, and then over to the other side with the exhale. And offering just a few breaths like this, maybe 5 or so breaths. 5. Exhale, looking the other direction. Inhaling for 4. Gaze comes around. Exhaling here, other direction. Taking the gaze for 3, for the right. Gaze toward the left with the exhale. Breath number 2. Gaze other side. Breath for 1. Exhale. And then chin can come back to center when you're ready. Just giving those arms a little bit of a break. Maybe a little bit of shoulder roll here. Good. So if that felt okay and you would like to take a little bit more of that kind of arm action and shoulder opening, I'm going to invite coming back to the goddess arms or the cactus arms. And just with a deep breath, rising those hands a little ways up. And exhaling, just dropping those elbows back down. So this is also a little bit of a shoulder opener and heart opener. Trying to keep the shoulder blades flat on the back as we just kind of shift them up and down, rotate some of those muscles through the shoulder girdle. This is for 3. Moving with your breath as much as possible. Full breath in for 2. And 1 more deep breath in here if you like it. Full exhale. And then those hands can just kind of travel back down as you feel ready. So that's just a way to get some of that muscle moving, the lymph flowing, and some of that drainage with those lifted arms. Coming now into a seated twist. So I'll invite a couple different adaptations of this shape. I'm going to start with, I'll start with left leg extended out and drawing the right foot to the floor. If it feels okay for you to do so, and you want to cross right foot over the left knee, inviting that here. Okay. And then we're going to twist into the knee. So I have my right knee up. That means my left arm is going to wrap around and hug that knee in. So if this feels okay to you to do so, depending on your flexibility, you know that can look a lot different. You can do this from a chair also. If you want to take it to a seat and just draw that knee up into the chest a little bit. The idea then is to give yourself that revolved spine, so we're twisting around in the back. Hand can come behind, if you can see that. As a kickstand, fingers to the floor, and then taking the gaze around the shoulder to look behind you. So again, we'll hold this for about 5 breath cycles. Deep inhale. Exhaling for 5. In breath for 4. Full exhale. Hugging that knee in. Deep breath in for 3. Exhaling, maybe twisting a little deeper. In breath for 2. Exhaling. 1 more deep breath here. And exhaling. And when you're ready to untwist, coming back around. Good. We'll just switch sides here. So the right leg then can release down. The left foot can come to the floor. It can stay right on the inside of the knee if it's accessible to you to cross that foot over. You might give yourself that option instead. And then right hand toward the left knee. Could be just a little bit of hand hold here, or if you've got more of that openness, you want to wrap that elbow around, you can do so. So then the left hand comes behind as a kickstand, just gently up on the fingers to help keep the alignment of the spine nice and tall. And then deep breath in here, coming to twist into the shape, using the gaze around the shoulder, holding for 5 or so breaths. Deep breath in for 5. Full exhale. Deep inhale for 4. Full exhale. And breath for 3, maybe reaching the crown of head a little higher. Full exhale, maybe twisting a little deeper. Breath in for 2. Full breath out. One more breath into your twist. Nice inhale here. And full exhale. When you're ready to release, gently coming to untwist. Good. From here, we'll go ahead and just drop that knee down over the leg. So it's kind of it's what we call a half Gomukhasana, or the half cow face pose. The classical version tucks the left foot in behind, so where the knees are stacked. If that's accessible to you, feel free to take that option. No worries if it's not. Always a way to adapt. So the arm position that comes with this shape, we're going to offer a couple different variations. So I'm going to start with, my right hand, left knee on top, and then just bending the elbow so that the hand comes to the upper back. You can kind of see it there. If you have the flexibility, the full expression of the shape is to bend the left hand up the back, and then those fingertips can connect. Mine almost make it, but again, that's a place where some people find sensitivity, pain, or injury. So what you can also do is take a sock to connect the hands, or just reach those fingertips toward each other, if that feels okay to you. Not an obligation to stress that left hand, so if you want to just reach up, maybe grab the elbow of that right hand, you're still getting all of that really good lymph drainage and heart opening kind of effect. So from here, whatever shape your pose looks like, if you would like to, you can take it into a little bit of forward fold. And then deep breath here, maybe noticing some stretch. Maybe you can release the head a little bit more, relax through the neck. Taking 5 or so breath cycles. Maybe you've already done 1 or 2, taking 3 more. Checking in if it feels okay for you to stay here for 2 more breaths. Always welcome to move out of the shape sooner than that, or reset it as you need to. I'm taking about 1 more breath here, so relaxing deeply as you can into the shape, and then starting to rise and back up. Good. You can release the hands. We'll uncross the first leg, extend that left leg back out, and then just go ahead and take that same option to the other side. So I'm going to start just by crossing the right foot over the left leg, and then just stacking the knee from the front. It looks a little bit like this. Do what you feel is possible for your body, respecting your own shape. Every body is different, every shape is unique. So lots of love for what you feel you are ready for at this time. So opposite direction for the hands this time. Left arm rises up, and then elbow bends to connect to the upper back. If you want to take the hands toward connection, right elbow bends low, and then those fingers reach toward each other. I don't know if you can see that. So that's one option here. You can also release that right hand up to the left elbow to help open up through that outside part of the arm and shoulder. And then taking it into any depth of forward fold for you. Maybe allowing the spine to round if it feels safe to do so. Taking about 5 breaths into your shape. Deep breath in for 4. Maybe relaxing a little bit deeper with the exhale. In breath for 3. Exhale for 3.
In breath for 2. Exhale for 2. One more deep breath here. One more full exhale. Maybe relaxing a little bit deeper into the shape at the end of that last exhale. And then gently rising up with the next in-breath. Releasing those arms gently, nice and slow. Good. Giving ourselves a chance to uncross that leg. Again, maybe shake it out a little bit. Notice how you're feeling. Maybe take a moment just to gently check in with yourself, to notice any shifts or changes, maybe concentrations of energy or tension that might come in, or places that feel more open than before. Time to just reflect and breathe, to feel your way through this practice. Allow yourself to truly be guided by what it is you need, the voice of your body, not my instruction or my authoring, but what it is that your body is ready for. From here, I'm going to offer coming toward child's pose. So knees can come around to the ground. If you need a little bit more support in your child's pose, you can always find a blanket or a roll or a cushion of some kind to support behind the knees. That's a nice way to soften the shape a little bit. And then option to take the upper body over the legs. Forehead can come down toward the floor here. The arms can just be soft up kind of in front of you. You can also tuck them in by the sides of the body if that feels more comfortable. If you want a little bit more shoulder opening here, you can bring the palms together and move them toward the upper back, or you can even bring that Lotus Mudra in here for that same kind of movement, and I'll just demonstrate what that looks like. Forehead coming to the ground, and then hands lifting up toward the upper back. Inviting about 5 breaths here as well. Nice deep inhale. Full exhale, nice and slow. Deep breath in for 4. Full breath out for 4. Deep breath in for 3. Slow exhale for 3. Long breath in for 2. Full exhale for 2. One more deep breath here. And full exhale. Releasing those hands to the ground if they are raised, allowing those palms to come back to the ground. Finishing out that last breath. And then when you're ready, you can bring it back up here, forward hands and knees. If there's a blanket behind, you can go ahead and release that. Good. Offering a little bit of time in a gate pose. So I'm going to show 2 different versions, one kneeling and one on the chair. First coming up to a tall, what I call a tall kneel. So upper body and the upper legs all stacked up and then the little legs behind. Okay. So in this shape, we're going to, you can bring hands to ground here to set it up if you wish to, starting with the left leg out to the side. So foot and knee about in line, so if you need to adjust it to kind of create a flat plane, feel free to do so. And then left arm can stay here on the left leg, taking a deep breath in, rising the right arm up nice and tall, stretching through the fingers with the inhale, and then with the exhale, a gentle lean over toward that left side. So this is a side body opener, lymph drainage with that arm raised up. A little bit of hip opening as well. You can allow the head to soften a little bit, allow the neck to go into a little bit of side stretch as well. Taking about 5 breaths here. Inhaling for 4. exhaling. Next breath in for 3. Full exhale, and rolling that top shoulder back just a little bit more. In breath for 2. Exhale here. In breath for 1. Full breath out. And then with the next inhale, coming to rise back up to center, nice and slow. Good. So that left leg can come in. You can have those hands on the ground for support if you need to as you make that transition. And then second side, right foot can come out if you wish to. Okay. Taking those arms out from the shoulders to start. Foot and knee are in line, checking there. And then reaching over to the right side. Left arm comes up, stretching up first to help lift the heart. And then exhaling just to gracefully let that hand kind of come over into a side stretch. So deep breath in here for 5. Exhaling for 5. Deep breath in for 4. Full exhale. In breath for 3. Full breath out. Inhaling for 2. Full exhale for 2. And one more deep breath here, keeping the top shoulder rolling back. Exhaling. When you're ready to rise back up, taking an inhale, all the way back up. Good. Coming to draw that right foot in, maybe hands to the ground to help that transition as well. I'm going to grab the chair and show just what that might look like from a chair as well. If you're comfortable with the floor practice, you can go back to the first side and take it again to the left as we practice from the chair. If you want to make that chair transition, feel free to do so. So knee can stay bent, and just taking that left leg out to the side here. Same setup. Nice deep breath in. To rise through the right arm, extend the left hand over the leg, and then take it into a side stretch. A couple of breaths here. Taking the pose that you need. Good. So that's more for demonstration, but feel free to rewind the tape if you are in the chair and come through that full 5 breaths on each side. And I'll just demonstrate the same here to the second side. Same shape, same setup. Knee stays in line, and then foot out to the side. You're not going to get that foot, and you might get foot and knee in line, but we're working on opening through the hips. So try to take that leg instead and straight out to the side. So setting up here, arms can raise. Left arm can come up as right hand comes down, stretching up through those fingers, and then taking it over to that side bend. So a couple of breaths here to demonstrate. Maybe sending that breath into the heart space. Rolling top shoulder back and down, setting up good alignment. A space where the body feels like it can open gently and over time. Good, so spending your amount of time for that practice as well. Being gentle with the release, giving yourself some support, some comfort, a little movement and transition here. If you're on the hands and knees, you might just take the tailbone side to side. From the chair, you can take those knees side to side. Cool. So from here, I'm going to offer a standing flow or a chair flow. So again, something that we went over in the last practice video number 3. If you want to kind of remind yourself of that breakdown, you can see it there. I will show you first what it looks like in a chair. If you have the standing practice already in your own practice or in your own body, feel free to take it there. And I will also demonstrate that next. So starting with a deep breath in. Rising the hands and arms as much as you might want to. With an exhale, coming into a forward fold. Maybe all the way down, maybe only part way down. With an in-breath, coming to place the hands on the knees, lifting the heart. This nice little back bend here. Exhaling into forward fold, softening the spine and the neck. Deep breath in, coming all the way up, sweeping those hands high, and exhaling hands to heart center. I'll demonstrate one more time here from the chair. Deep breath in, raising those hands or arms as much as you want to. Exhaling into any depth of forward fold. Inhaling to find a halfway lift. Exhaling into forward fold. Rising up to stand, rising all the way up. With an in-breath, good. And exhaling hands coming to heart center. I'll demonstrate just a couple more rounds from a standing practice, moving the chair off to the side. Stay in the chair if that's your comfort zone. From a standing practice, it looks a little bit more like this. Deep breath in. From the feet all the way up, stretching the body. You can take a little back bend here if you want to. And exhaling into any depth of fold. It could be halfway, ski pose, or the full forward fold. Inhaling to rise halfway to a flat back. And exhaling back into forward fold. Rising all the way up with an inhale. Coming to standing. Back bend option. And exhaling hands to center. I'll take another round showing the ski pose variation. Deep breath in when you're ready. Heart lifting. Exhaling into forward fold. Maybe just go into ski pose if you need to. Inhaling to find a flat back. Extending the crown of head forward with the tailbone rising behind you. Exhaling, maybe back into forward fold or ski pose. Pressing into the floor, rising all the way up with an inhale. And exhaling, hands coming to heart center. So I'll show one more variation, just holding a halfway lift or halfway fold. Deep breath in when you're ready. Heart lifts. Exhaling into any depth of fold, could be halfway or all the way down. Either pressing up to the half lift or staying in the half fold. Inhaling and full exhale. Good. When you're ready to rise back up, coming all the way to standing. Heart lifting and exhaling, hands coming to heart center. Good. So that's our standing flow practice. Adapt that for yourself. You can pause the video and take a few more rounds in whatever way felt best for you. Chair, half fold, ski pose, or full fold. Just wanted to give a little bit of that. Feel free also just to take some more rounds of that. You can do a bunch of those and get that breath really moving, flowing into that moving meditation and purifying as well. So from here, I'm going to offer a revisit of our Warrior 2 pose. So again, visiting from the chair, our Warrior 2, coming to the edge of the seat, and then again, if you have your standing practice, feel free to take it there. So this time taking the left knee out to the side and the right leg out to the right side, and then stacking knee and ankle over top of each other. Arms come out, reaching from side to side. Hips and shoulders are square toward the front. Legs and arms out to the sides. A little change for this pose today is raising those arms into V arms. So this helps with our lymph drainage. And then taking your 5 breaths. Nice deep inhale here. Full exhale for 5. In breath for 4. Full exhale. Deep breath in for 3. Breath out for 3. In breath for 2. Out breath for 2. One more breath in. One more full exhale. Release those arms at the end of that breath. And kind of bring those legs back into center. Okay. So second side from the chair, looks much the same. Left leg this time extending out And right leg is bent, stacking the knee and the ankle here, arms out to the sides. Again, if you're in that standing practice, taking the pose that you need here. Maybe lifting up in the arms. If you find that this isn't comfortable for you, you want to come back to the cactus arms, a little bend in those elbows. Still gives you that drainage, just maybe a little bit less intensity. So I'm gonna demonstrate this for this time. Coming back to those V arms, if you did so on the first side and you're comfortable there. Gaze coming over to the right side this time. Deep breath in for 5. Full exhale. Inhaling for 4. Full exhale for 4. Breathing in for 3. Breathing out. Inhaling for 2. Full exhale. Inhaling for 1. Last full exhale. When you're ready to release that pose, arms can come down, legs can come in, maybe a little transition, a little bit of a wiggle here to release that pose. So again, just briefly demonstrating what the Warrior 2 looks like. Not holding for the whole 5 breaths, but feel free to do that for yourself. You can pause the video, come back to it. So the Warrior 2 pose starts with legs wide and standing. I'm going to keep the left leg extended here and bend into the right knee. I guess it's kind of opposite, but that's okay. So arms can look like straight out. They can look like cactus arms, or if you want to take those V arms here, get that lymph drainage just a little bit more, you might find this shape instead. So the gaze can come over toward even to the right hand still. You can still come forward to that hand. Sometimes looking up toward where the wall meets the ceiling or that corner, a little bit of a lifted gaze can help establish a lift in the knee. So that's also a thing that you might bring into this practice here. Take an opportunity to take the gaze a little bit higher. Maybe taking a couple more breaths here if you wish to. And releasing when you are ready. So a simple switch. Right toes come to the front, left toes to the side, and then bend into the knee. Knee and ankle stacked up. Again, you can choose your arm position here for the second side. Arms straight out, cactus arms, or V arms, maybe taking that lift in the gaze, regardless of whatever arm position you are using right now. And then deep breath comes in. Finding yourself rooted in your practice. Feeling the energy of the shape. Noticing if you feel okay here, if you need a break, you need a rest, or you want to come back to it later. Coming to release the pose when you do feel ready. Arms can come down, feet can walk back into center. So it's our standing practice here for today. One more standing pose that I do have to offer is a standing back bend. So being gentle with yourself here. There can be overstretching, and there's ways I'll demonstrate kind of what's a little bit too much and how to kind of invigorate that pose with courage, with strength and energy. So I'm going to start by grounding the feet down. My feet are about hip width distance. Okay. This is a place where you can find a little bit more balance. If you feel steady in the balance, you can walk those feet together where the big toes can come to touch. That's also a good place to be. Might feel like a little bit more balanced challenge, so feel free to play with that if that's a good thing for you at this time. Deep breath in, sweeping those hands up. Good. You can clasp the fingers, interlacing those fingers and releasing the index. So right here, that looks like this. Maybe also for today, we bring it into that Lotus Mudra. So finding the hand position that feels right for you. Lifting those hands up, maybe clasping those fingers, maybe Lotus Mudra. Gaze comes high as we lift through the crown of the head. Okay, in breath here to stretch up, and then the exhale, taking the weight forward into the toes, pressing the front body forward, and then leaning back back a little bit to help open the heart. The gaze can come back and the body can follow. Checking in that you're not going too far. Dumping the weight into the low back sometimes looks like this, pressing the pelvis way forward. That's not what we're trying to go. We're trying to keep it lifted and gently express openness in the front body. Okay, maybe one more breath here. We would rise back to center on an inhale. And exhaling, you can release that down. So that's kind of an invigorating pose. It's a lot of energy to keep the balance and the posture and keep all of that lift rising up into the upper body. But it's also a really great practice to find strength in. If a standing back bend isn't good for you, you can take it in a chair as well. So it can be set up the same way. Maybe finding hand finger clasp and index released, or maybe that Lotus Mudra here. Deep breath in, and then lifting through the heart, and then taking it back into back bend. If it's not safe or comfortable for you to have those arms nice and tall like that, you can use a chair, grabbing the edge of the seat or the backrest, something like that, and then lifting up through the heart, taking the gaze high, stretching open. This is actually one of my favorite poses of all of yoga, in the chair. So you can find whatever feels right for you. Give some deep breath into that heart space. Intention with the breath, focusing in on what you feel. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. Maybe one more breath here if you'd like. And gently coming back to the neutral spine. When you're ready, arms can shake out or release. So some different variations and options for you to try. And if it's accessible to you, try as much of it as you can. Just because you can do a standing back bend doesn't mean a seated back bend won't really serve you. And just, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to play with that. So I want to move on to back to the seated practice and taking it into a seated gate pose. So before we did kind of that gate pose from either the chair or kneeling. In this time, inviting a new variation where taking it to the seat can help kind of open up a little bit more of that side body action, that side stretch and things. So let's see. Bringing it to, starting it with a little bit of the twist. So I'm going to go ahead and send the right leg out forward, bend into the left knee, and I'm actually going to align it so that my right leg is straight out in front of my body and left knee to the side. If you want help setting that up a little bit more, it can look like bending that left knee and then laying it down. If you need any supports underneath that knee, things like blankets or towels can also support and provide a little bit of cushion there. Okay, so starting out with a little bit of a twist. Right hand is going to come across the body to that left knee. It's kind of like our seated twist that we started with today. So you can kind of see what's going on. Left hand is going to be behind me, just helping to press up to keep a nice tall spine. And then gaze comes around the shoulder. Just a little bit more. Gaze comes around the shoulder, keeping the arm up for a kickstand. Nice deep breaths into the shape. Hoping with about 5 breaths in twist. Making sure that the shoulders are down away from the ears. Crown of head is rising. Deep breath in helps us to lift to the crown of head. Breath out helps us to twist into the shape. Maybe taking one more breath here. Good. And then as we untwist, coming
Try to keep my angle so you can see what's going on. As we rise it up, we're going to turn about a quarter or halfway to the leg. So we're not coming fully to face the leg, we're coming about into the middle between the knee and the leg. Arms can come high if you wish to, and then for that gate pose, right hand can come toward the leg, left arm can come up and over. So from this angle, looks a little bit like this, so seated gate pose. If you have all kinds of flexibility and you want to take a hand clasp, there's a way that can super deepen the shape. Not necessarily going to be for everybody, so allow yourself just that comfortable place where you can get a side body stretch, really opening and draining lymph here through the arm and the side of the chest. Nice deep breaths here. We'll take about 3 or 4 more breaths. Full inhale and full exhale. Deep breath in and full breath out. One more breath here. Full exhale. And then rising it back up gently when you're ready. Ooh, and then we'll take it to the other side. So I'm going to take the left leg straight out in front this time. Right knee out to the side before setting up from even legs. Right knee bends. Maybe that blanket or towel comes in to be a knee support here. Taking it into twist on the other side. So crossing the body again. Left hand connects to the knee. Right hand behind as a kickstand. Okay. And then twisting into the pose. Gaze comes around the shoulder. Moderating the pressure through that hand to help keep you nice and tall. Helping to stretch and open through the chest and the heart. 3 more deep breaths here. You can count for yourself if you wish to. About 5 breaths or so. Also helping to compress and purify the back organs. So getting lots of good stretch here. Many health benefits. Maybe 1 more breath if you choose. Full exhale. Coming back around when you're ready. Facing kind of middle of the way between the knee and the leg. Maybe rising it up here with the arms high. And then into the seated gate pose where the left hand connects to the leg. Right arm can rise up and over. You can deepen that shape if you've got that foot clasp. You want to create that nice long side. It doesn't mean you have to. You can take it more gentle. Give yourself lots of breath. About 4 more breaths into this shape, keeping the top shoulder rolling back and down. Inhaling here. Full exhale. Taking about 2 more breaths. Full long exhale. And 1 more deep breath in. Exhaling here. When you're ready to rise back up, taking it slow. Good. So that's our seated gate pose. Go ahead and come down toward the floor if you feel okay with it. Offering a little bit of bridge pose here today. You can find a supported bridge pose. You can fold a blanket up into a little bit of a block kind of style. If you have a yoga block or a couple thick books, something like that, you can bring those in as well. Coming all the way down onto the back here. Okay. If you want to take the supported bridge pose, feet walk in toward the hips. You can lift those hips up off the floor, place that blanket, roll, or block, or books underneath the sacral spine, right above the tailbone.
And that can be a supported bridge pose where we're getting a little bit of that lymph drainage. It's a slight inversion. So that can help kind of create that lymph flow back toward the heart. If you want the active bridge pose or the dynamic bridge pose, go ahead and walk those feet in toward the hips. Press the feet into the floor. Rise the hips off the floor. Pressing those knees in towards center. And I know I'm looking at the camera, but the gaze stays straight up overhead to help keep the spine, the cervical spine, nice and safe. So you can hold here. You can pulse it. You can breathe in for a lift and exhale to lower. If you want to use a little bit more muscle control and strength, it can be a lift and lower. Whatever options you're taking, maybe giving yourself about 5 to 8 breaths to take the pose. And if you want a little bit more height, you can also interlace the fingers underneath the back and roll those shoulders underneath you, as long as it feels safe to do so. And that just creates a little bit more lift into the body, into the pose. So give about 2 more breaths into whatever shape you choose. Full inhale and full exhale. 1 more breath, breathing in. With the exhale, either unclasping the fingers or releasing the support behind the hips. With that exhale, gently rolling back down onto the flat of the back. And you might shake those knees side to side a little bit just to help soften out of the pose. Good. Looking at my notes. Okay. So that's the bridge pose. Option here for a fish pose. Again, there's a supported version of this shape that you can use a blanket roll for. You can take a blanket kind of about this size, about the length of the spine, or a little bit less or a little bit more, depending on what you feel comfortable with. You can roll it up and place it at the base of the spine here, right along the tailbone. You can gently roll back down onto the supported blanket so the spine is supported. You can choose if you need more support underneath the head. You can bring in another pillow or another blanket there. If you like the deep heart opening and the head kind of beyond the edge of the blanket, then adjusting for yourself. So that's a way of doing a supported fish pose. Nice heart opener, nice passive or restorative practice. If you want a more dynamic version, a more of a kind of deep stretch version, we're going to go ahead and lift. So it's a little bit of a press of the elbows, bending into the elbows and lifting the sternum. So the hands can stay by the sides of the body, or if you want to roll those hands underneath the hips, you can do so. So doing that kind of keeps the head more off the ground. If you start from laying down and you just lift up in the sternum, you can keep the crown of head connected to the floor. So play with some of these options. Notice what feels right for you, and we'll give it 5 breaths or so in holding the pose, but keeping the breath moving. Inhaling for 5. Exhaling for 5. Inhaling for 4. Exhaling for 4. Inhaling for 3. Exhaling for 3. Inhaling for 2. Exhaling for 2. Inhaling for 1. Exhaling for 1. And you're ready to release. Just allowing yourself to come back onto the floor with the back. Releasing those arms back out to the sides. Good. So final kind of active pose here. This is also a restorative pose. A few different options. So inviting the waterfall pose, like we talked about in the last video, it can be much like the setup of the supported bridge pose, taking a blanket or a block underneath the sacral spine. And releasing those legs up over the hips and finding that balance point. This is also possible to practice with the legs on a wall, on a flat wall, or on a chair. And I'll go ahead and grab the chair and demonstrate that for you as well. So maybe even creating a little bit of cushion so that the heels can be soft on that chair. Legs up the wall or legs up the chair can look a little bit like this. So support here for those legs, and then just allowing gravity to kind of settle you into the wall or the chair in that passive inversion where the lymph can drain from the feet and the legs back down to the core body. Hands can rest by the sides, on the belly or the heart, up overhead, anywhere that feels good to you. Taking some kind of choice for yourself that feels comfortable, easy, something that feels peaceful to you. We'll give ourselves a little bit longer in this shape. I'll count out about 10 more breaths, assuming you've already taken a couple. Deep breath in for 10. Exhaling 10. Inhale for 9. Exhaling 9. Inhale 8. Slow exhale for 8. Dropping into your breath rhythm. Inhaling 7. Exhaling 7. Inhaling 6. Exhaling 6. Inhaling 5. Exhaling 5. Inhaling 4. Exhaling for 4. Inhaling for 3. Exhaling 3. Allowing any other tension to start to release in these final breaths. Inhaling 2. Exhaling 2. A little bit softer. Inhaling 1. Exhaling 1. Choosing for yourself if you want a little bit more time here, you're welcome to take it. This is a super nice and cozy pose. Also really good for insomnia. If that is a struggle for you or someone that you love or care about, you're welcome to share it. Practice it in the middle of the night, wherever you need a little bit more of that rest and relaxation, encouragement for sleep. If you feel ready to release the pose, feet can come back down. If you are supported underneath from the waterfall pose, go ahead and lift the hips, remove the blanket, and set it off to the side. That is the final practice pose, and I will spend kind of the last few minutes for today offering your yoga nidra, or the yoga of sleep. So feel free to relax all the way down onto the floor. I know I just came up to seated so I can kind of be with the camera. I will show what that might look like for corpse pose or shavasana. Taking it all the way down, so the feet and the legs just extend down from the hips. The feet can splay open and relax. Hands can rest by the sides of the body, maybe tucking those shoulder blades down and behind you. Palms can be open, the fingers can curl in or up toward the ceiling a little bit. Just finding a soft place for relaxation. If you want to cover yourself with a blanket here, you can. If there is other cushion or support that you want to bring in at this time, you can do so. So offering kind of a focused relaxation, releasing each part of the body one at a time. And so I'm going to invite you just to notice that the breath can come back to a neutral, natural pace and depth. Taking in that spirit of purity, of Saucha, into this practice. And if you wish to, you might invite yourself the vision of the ocean. So a clean, maybe blue water or sparkling water, maybe a saltwater ocean, if that feels good to you. The salt being also a purifying force and a cleansing force. Just allow yourself to match the flow of the waves or the rise of the waves with the inhale, and the receding of the waves with the exhale. So allowing this to be perfectly yours. Your meditation or your visual, your wave, your ocean. Let's invite that cleansing wave to come into the body, to flow over the toes, to bring softness and relaxation as you just feel that wave of breath coming in, cleansing through the toes. Cleansing wave coming into the tops of the feet, clearing and cleansing through the bottoms of the feet. Cleansing wave coming into the heels and the Achilles, releasing and relaxing the ankles. Cleansing wave breath coming to soften and release the lower legs, the shins and the calves. A cleansing wave coming to wash and purify the knees. Cleansing wave breath coming into the upper legs, releasing any tension here, clearing and softening the legs. A cleansing wave breath coming up into the hips, cleansing and clearing the low back and the low belly. Clear, pure water and wave coming into the abdomen, cleansing and purifying the internal organs, allowing them to just float and flow with the water. Cleansing wave breath, clearing space through the rib cage, clearing and cleansing space around the heart and the lungs. Cleansing waves moving into the chest, washing over, allowing everything to be soft and relaxed. Wave breath coming into the shoulders, cleansing and clearing the upper arms, relaxing into the elbows. Clear, clean breath, softening into the forearms, the wrists, the hands, cleaning and cleansing all 10 fingers. Flowing with that wave breath, still riding that wave gently up and down, in and out. That wave breath coming to clear and cleanse through the neck and the throat. Cleaning and cleansing through the mouth and the jaw. Giving softness and clearing the nose. Softening through the cheeks. Relaxing into the jaw and the ears. Soft wave breath coming to cleanse the eyes, the temples, the brow, and the forehead. And that cleansing wave washing over all the muscles of the scalp, allowing them all to be soft, clear and pure. This whole body just gently riding
the gentle wave, the whole body in focus, feeling yourself soft and open, riding this wave of breath, gently in and gently out. Give me a few more moments just to feel yourself in the wave of breath. Wave gently washing you pure, washing you clean. Allowing yourself to start to notice the body in your time and place. Physically grounded, maybe peaceful, maybe calm. You might start to add movements back in slowly, maybe wiggling fingers and toes, circling wrists and ankles. Maybe you want to give the knees into the chest for a nice hug, or wrap the arms around yourself for a loving embrace. If you want to come back to a seated position at this time, you might gently make your way back to a seat. You might stay grounded exactly where you are. Give yourself that loving place to close this practice. I'm offering a chance here to join me in a chant of 3 Om, or just receive the good vibration. You're also welcome to chant a hum if you like that better. Starting with a deep breath here. Honoring the light, the love, and the divine in you, from my heart to yours. Namaste. And thank you for joining in this practice, however much you have received or been able to take for yourself. Feel free to revisit it. There are more videos coming. There are more videos already posted on YouTube. Bhakti Earth Yoga on YouTube, Bhakti Earth Yoga on Facebook, and bhaktiearthyoga.com online classes page. So feel free to connect, give comments, feel free to reach out and let me know how you're experiencing these classes or these practices, and what else I can offer you in better support of your practice and of your wellness. Thank you so much for being here, being alive. Have a great day.